Technology and teens, but first, a blast from the past. In 1837, Charles Babbage invented the first ever computing device. It was basically a mechanical type of calculator that had a memory, and although it was powered by a steam engine and weighed 750 pounds, no one can deny that it was a big moment for the future. Then, on March 10, 1876, the first call ever made on a telephone, invented by Alexander Graham Bell, occurred. First words, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." What would you have said? On March 25, 1925, Scottish inventor John Logie Baird gave the first public demonstration of televised silhouette images in motion. And on January 26, 1926, the world's first demonstration of a working television system was seen. All three of these inventions are big milestones to the society that we live in today. Nowadays, you can own portable computing devices, aka laptops and tablets, that weigh as light as 3 pounds. And the television, you flat screens, HD, and 3D available. The telephone, what I really mean is the cell phone. Portable devices that offer quick communication to just about anybody, internet access, and games, and well, lots of other things too. Technology has affected today's youth in positive ways. It has catalyzed simple tasks such as doing homework and research. The majority of school papers are now typed, not written. If you need to look up something, you can Google it. If you feel like blowing off steam, tweet it or whip out your phone and listen to music. Not to mention, you can also communicate much faster with your peers, family, or friends. Sounds fantastic, right? Well, one could argue not so much, especially for teenagers today, but why? Why does technology have more negative than positive effects on teens? 3 main reasons. It leads to the shortening of the attention span, to the decrease of social skills, and to the development of major health issues. First, we will start with the shortening of the attention span. Studies have shown that the use of social media has shortened our attention spans from 12 minutes to 5 minutes. A Pew Internet study in the U.S. found that attention span and in-depth analysis is being diminished by instant access to computers and online platforms. Constant news feeds, getting information in 140 characters, and videos that are 10 minutes or less has literally rewired our brains. Consequently, this makes it harder to focus, and this probably doesn't seem very damaging, but think about it this way. If your attention span is the length of time that you can concentrate on an activity or a goal, and that is being shortened, you complete much less. Every time we start a new task, our brain has to reorient itself, and therefore shortened attention spans resulting from quick interactions are detrimental to focusing on the harder problems. Everyday tasks are affected by your attention spans. For instance, driving a car. The majority of adults obviously have more driving experience than the typical teenager, and it takes 100% cognitive focus for someone to drive a vehicle. So how is a teen supposed to drive a vehicle safely if they're constantly distracted? It only takes a second to take someone's life because you were too busy not paying attention to the road. As reported in the Wall Street Journal, the National Safety Council estimates 1 in 4 crashes involve cell phone distracted drivers.
How often do you text and drive? No, really, think about it. You're driving down the road and your phone buzzes, beeps, or hollers. Do you take a peek? If you answered yes, you're risking your life and the lives of others. A recent AT&T survey asked 1,200 teens about texting and driving, and the results were quite scary. 61% of teenagers who answered questions say they look at their phone while driving. 43% of them say they actually text while driving, and they know it's not safe. Because in that exact same survey, almost all of the teens said texting and driving is dangerous. And when they're sitting at a red light, more teens think it's okay to mess with their phones. 73% glance at their messages, while 60% of them send one.
Granted, there are other distractions, such as music or passengers, but the type of distraction is irrelevant to the real point. Because teens are able to focus for only about 5 minutes at a time, it's impossible to completely pay attention to the road. Plus, driving is only a portion of the tasks teens do regularly. This rising problem is a very big threat to teens' lives. But put shortened attention span to the side for a moment. Move the spotlight to social skills. So no one can deny the fact that the advancement of technology has produced a completely unique method of interaction and communication. A Pew Research study completed in 2013 found that 78% of teens have a cell phone, and almost half of those own smartphones. 1 in 4 teens have a tablet computer, and 9 in 10 teens have a computer or have access to one at home. Now more than ever, people are interacting with others through social networks or via email and text message, and because of this, many teens don't know how to interact with others when they meet them in person. Ask yourself this:
Have you ever said something over the internet or texted someone a message that you would never say in real life? Being behind a computer or phone makes it easier to say stuff to people because you don't have to face the person's reaction right on the spot. If you don't want to reply to a person, you simply don't. Another Pew Research study found more than 1/3 of teens say they talk with their friends in person outside of school. 35% talk on a cell phone, and 36% send text messages on a daily basis. Yes, I am being serious. To effectively develop good communication skills, the percentage of talking face-to-face should be significantly higher than it currently is. The increased use of technology causes teens to start losing the ability to read body language and social cues in other people, which results in a lack of good relationships and completed goals. Good social skills are key to having a successful future, and that leads me into my next point, the resulting major health issues. All good things, of course, have benefits, but the health problems come in all types when it comes to technology. First, we'll look into the physical downsides. Obesity. The more time teens are spending engrossed in video games, talking to friends online, and watching funny cat videos on YouTube, they are spending less time being active or exercising. There's also a loss of hearing and eyesight involved. Using headphones and earbuds can cause people to lose their hearing over time. Likewise, straining your eyes looking at computer and device screens can cause people to need glasses much earlier in life.
Another issue is poor sleeping habits. Using cell phones, computers, and video games just before bedtime and in the middle of the night, as teens and young adults say they often do, is robbing many of much-needed sleep. According to the latest poll done by the National Sleep Foundation, using electronic devices before bedtime is common, with 60% watching TV, 39% using cell phones, 36% laptops or other computers, 21% phone, 8% video games, and 29% music devices. In addition, the average amount of sleep that teens got was 7 hours, which is decent, but the ideal amount of sleep that teens should be getting is at least a full 8 hours. Sleep deprivation affects everyday tasks, such as driving, participating in school, and working jobs.
Waking up on the wrong side of the bed is almost a daily habit for teens, and don't forget the psychological effects as well. Because technology is often used to relieve stress and pass the time, this can lead to a teen shutting him or herself off from their peers and family. Depression is a very common result of this. Being online or watching TV allows teens to live in their own reality, and there is almost never privacy. Then when it comes to living their life, their real life that is, it's sometimes hard to cope with.
On your show.
Now, is it digital technology that's causing this problem, or maybe some of us already have this problem and we're just attracted to digital technology?
I think it's a little of both, but I think really it's the latter. I think that the technology itself is exacerbating problems that we have, but also creating problems for us. For example, when we get on Facebook and we start posting things on Facebook like status updates, a lot of people will post things that all say, I, me. It's all about me. And that's really exhibiting traits of narcissism. So what you're starting to see is people are playing out things behind screens that they may have inside, or the technology may help them play that out.
So if we didn't have Facebook, would we just not be able to channel our inner narcissist, or what would happen?
Well, what we would be doing is using email probably and doing exactly the same thing. I'm sure you've gotten emails from people and it's all about me. It's a big, big post to all my friends just so you can see what I'm doing in France right now, as if anybody really cared.
So what are some of the other psychiatric disorders that you connect to eye technology?
Well, there's quite a few. My favorites and the ones I think that are most interesting are obsessive compulsive disorder and social phobia. Those are two that I think are real critical. And obsessive compulsive disorder is easy. I mean, you can't walk out of your house without your phone, right? You can't do it. And I spend much of my day patting my pockets just to make sure that my phone is there, sort of like a safety blanket almost. And what we see particularly with young kids, with teenagers, and even young adults, is they are literally acting like they have OCD. They cannot go to dinner without having the phone out on the table. If they get a text, they almost like Pavlov's dogs, they almost salivate and have to answer it immediately. So these kinds of technologies are encouraging us to exhibit these signs of obsessive compulsive disorder. Same thing with social phobia, though. We are social animals, and yet a lot of our socialization right now and a lot of our communication is taking place behind screens. And we're not thinking very carefully behind screens about the kinds of things we're saying and the kinds of words that we're uttering to people at the other end of the screen. And so people are feeling phobic about being social because they've been hurt online. They've gotten nasty comments to a post that they thought was innocuous. And so there's all these kind of weird things going on where the technology is impacting us in strange ways.
It's almost like we're not taking part in our own lives. We're just posting about them rather than living them in some way.
By living a healthier lifestyle, these problems could definitely be avoided. Conclusively, mankind has come an incredibly long way since the first ever computer was built in 1837. Forms of fast communication have been developed, and everyday living is easier in many ways because of technology. However, teens who are constantly engaged in using these technologies have become so addicted that they spend less time with loved ones and feel lonely and depressed. Technological addiction is leading to a more isolated generation, overly dependent on technology. Between the decrease of attention spans and social skills, and the increase of resulting health disorders, is technology really all that worth it for teenagers?